friends, I have a quick episode today just answering a few questions I got over the Knitting 101 series. So, this episode will be about what to do if you drop a stitch and don't notice and keep knitting for a few rows. And what to do if you make some sort of egregious error and need to quickly undo a few rows. How to rip or frog back to a specific row, faster than unpicking each individual stitch. Also, I had mentioned when you're putting drop stitches back on the needle, you want to be careful that you're putting them back on the right way so you don't twist them. One of the other questions I got is what they look like if you just leave them twisted. So here's an example of that. I have one twisted one way and one twisted the other. As you can see, it's not super noticeable, but if you look at the bottom there, instead of coming from the sides like this, they're kind of crossing over like this, sort of. Not necessarily the biggest defect, but still best to avoid. I wouldn't necessarily go back several rows to fix that though either. All right, let's now jump over to my hand so I can show you how to fix some drop stitches and frog your work. One of the questions I got was about picking up drop stitches when you dropped them several rows back and then just kept knitting. So that's what I did here. I dropped this stitch here and then just kept knitting for a few rows up here. So to fix this, we're gonna have to pick up the dropped stitches here and then find some way to get this stitch back onto the needles. Now I will say when this happens, it's not gonna be perfect unless you actually tear out some of the rows, but for the most part, unless you have like a huge way to go, it's not going to look too weird. So to start with, I want to pick up my stitch here. So I'm just kind of pulling that through from the bottom. Now the next one that I want to pick up is this one. So there's kind of two ways to do this. What I typically do is I put the tip of my needle over it, and then I kind of do like a pinwheel spin type motion and pull that piece through. So let me show you that again. So I have this piece that I'm trying to pull through. I'm going to put the tip of my needle on top of it, and I'm going to pull it through like that. My other option would be actually to slide this under that, and either with another needle or with my fingers, I'm just going to pick that up and pull it right over. So let me show you that again. Just put your needle under that and then lift up and over. And we have that. Another potential option you have, if you do have a crochet hook, this makes that really, really easy. So all you're gonna do is, just like your knitting needle, you're gonna slide that into that stitch, and then you're going to use the hook to pull that through. Now we're up to the point where I actually just kept knitting. So, and this is something I think is significantly easier when you use a crochet hook. You can do this with a knitting needle the exact same way that I just showed you below, but it is easier with a hook. So what you're going to be doing, because we don't really have any more stitches to pick up, but if you kind of pull your stitches apart here, we do have these threads across between the stitches, and all we're going to do is do the exact same thing with those as though they were drop stitches. So I'm going to slide my hook under, and I'm going to pick up that stitch, even though that's not really a stitch, but oops. All right, so, and then I would just slide these off and then put this stitch that I had pulled up all the way from down here onto this needle. So again, it's going to kind of make it a little bit tight here and kind of pull these stitches a little bit weird, but it doesn't look, too bad. Let's say I made some sort of egregious error, somewhere in here and noticed it a few rows later, or I knit something a little bit longer than I had meant it to be. I can actually, instead of, meticulously picking back each stitch, I can pick up stitches in a lower row and then just tear this out to that point. It is known as frogging. So how I would do that is I'm just gonna kind of put my needle in through this side one, and then I'll actually show you on the next stitch. So On all of my knit stitches here, so all of my V's, I am going to pick up the right leg. So, and I have another V here, so I'm going to pick up that one, and I'm going to do this across the entire row, which thankfully my row is pretty little, so it's that one. It might be on the wrong row there, but it's fine. I'll figure it out after I pull back. At least I won't be dropping any stitches. So, all right, so I have this now. Oh, and I would note, I did this with a size 6 needle, so I knit this on size 8 needles. It's just a little bit easier if you drop down a little bit to get the needle in there. So I'm gonna pull this needle out and pull all the stitches out. Oh no, I was on the right row, good. Anyways, so, and this is, oh, I did drop down for this one. So I would just slide this stitch onto another needle and then knit that one and then turn around and keep going. All right, that's it for this episode. I hope you found those helpful. If you have any other questions, definitely feel free to leave a comment. And of course, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.